Yeah, where do you see value in altcoins? How do you see the value? How do you see the notion from a lot of Bitcoin maximalists that the only thing valuable in the world right now seems to be Bitcoin?
Yeah, I just don't buy into that argument. I understand there's a probability of it. So, I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. There is a probability. This whole idea that anything that is a utility trades at the cost of electricity, I just think is false. I think it's false because of Metcalfe's law adoption effects. And we've seen that time and time again. Now, when John Pfeffer wrote the paper that everybody refers to, every Bitcoin maximus holds as like, here is the prophet of truth, he basically wrote off network effects. So I went and proved it, that network effects operate perfectly in Ethereum. In fact, it operates in every one of these. In fact, all new technologies are network effect driven. So I don't believe that utilities have a zero function. Some that are badly designed may do, but most I don't believe will. The hard question is which ones are going to succeed and which ones aren't. I don't know the answer to that. So there is a maximalist school of thought is we all got caught out in 2017 because we bought these tokens and they went to zero. Guess what? They were all early stage projects. And if you understand how the VC world works, 80% of what you invest in is going to go to zero or go nowhere. And it's really the 20%, 10%, 5% that you make the money in. So what was the one out of 2000 that did well, out of 2017? Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is around today. It hasn't taken out its peak versus Bitcoin yet, but it's taken out its all-time high. Will it outperform Bitcoin over time? Who knows? I think for a period of time, certainly. And I think over a longer period of time, probably. So how I look at this is Bitcoin is currently $1 trillion-ish, and the rest of the space is, call it $700 or $800 million. If I look at the equity space or the fixed income space or the credit space globally, they're all about 300 to 500 trillion. So if this is truly as disruptive as we think it is, which is the internet of value, then it's going to be worth something like that, if not more. So the whole space looks like it can go to up 200x from here, at least. Okay, that's, we've never had this before. Whole asset class is going up 200x. But that's what adoption effects do. And that's what this whole parallel system that's being built. We know we've got this broken system that we live in now. Whether you're European, Japanese, American, we all know that we've got this debt burden system where the banking system doesn't function. There's a terrible disparity between the rich and the poor. Wages aren't increasing, all of the problems that we've got. Then over here, there's a bunch of really smart people in the thousands or tens of thousands who are building an alternative system. And people are slowly migrating across. And that is not just a system of money. And that's where a lot of the Bitcoin people get confused between money and value. Assets have value. They don't have to be money. A Picasso is not money. It is value. So I think those two things are different. And I think once the whole space builds interoperability, you and I won't care what platform we're buying and selling or streaming on. You'll be streaming for money in real-time payments, and you don't care whether it's on Tron, whatever. I mean, it's irrelevant to you as long as you get paid whatever source of money you want, be it Bitcoin or euros or dollars or whatever you choose. It's that early stage that people are fighting over the wrong thing.
In what other cryptocurrencies do you see value at the moment?
The answer is I don't know. I see value in the space. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough bandwidth to go through all of these because they all sound super interesting, right? Everything's like, oh my God, that's incredible. Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. Problem is what's going to get network effects and what's not? What's going to find the use cases? What's going to find the developers? I don't know. Ethereum for sure. I mean, that's a surefire, major platform that is going to play a major part in the future. But the others, I honestly don't know, So I just bought a basket of 10 alts. I did it in a very unscientific way. If my thesis is network effects, I went onto Twitter and said, shill me your best alts.
You counted which one got shilled the most?
I kind of looked at it and I could figure it out, right? And it basically breaks down to DeFi, decentralized exchanges, some alternative protocols, and the interoperability layer. And amongst those, you pretty much cover everything. So I just kind of did an allocation equally weighted amongst those and took kind of what seemed to be the largest market cap that had the most number of smart people interested in it. That wasn't based on just kind of the hype cycle, but had some really interesting people involved. Whether it was investors in, if you look at Polkadot, I mean, there's serious people behind Polkadot. So you have to take it seriously. Whether it works or not, who knows? But you can take it seriously. And so you then have to size it. You have to size it accordingly as well, because you're going to have to realize a bunch of these just aren't going to work out. But a few of them
you have to be willing to lose. Yeah,
that's right.
I personally treat Bitcoin as DeFi. So for me, the entire blockchain investment space has, at least to me, only seen one large sector so far, which was DeFi. And now, I mean, in 2017, for the first time, it kind of bubbled up, but especially end of 2020 and now beginning of 2021, we see the second new thing, which is NFTs. And to me, that's just very different than the DeFi space so far. Have you looked into this? Is this something where you're like, this is just a bit of a temporary thing, collectible, this is not yours? Do you see this a bit different? Do you see value in those?
The four things that I see right now, two are already kind of known and two are yet misunderstood or not known about. So I think DeFi is real, and some of those projects will fail and some of them will become huge multi-hundred billion dollar operations. Non-fungible tokens, I think, are real and meaningful. And I think that anybody who's younger understands that digital assets have the same value. You and I may buy a t-shirt from a designer because we kind of want to affiliate with that designer. It's a $2 piece of cotton and we'll pay €2 piece of cotton, we'll pay €100 because, it's bullshit, right? We all know it, but we kind of want it. There's no difference in the digital world. So an art is basically a painting, is a piece of canvas with some paint on it, total value, €20, but it could be worth 200 million euros. There's no difference in the digital world. When people argue about that Beeple piece that sold for 69 million, firstly, it was 5,000 pieces of art. So each individual piece of art actually wasn't that expensive, if you consider the man hours put in to create that. And just because it's on a different medium, people are like, well, it's worth nothing, it's digital. Well, basically, canvas and paint is worth nothing as well. It's all in the art and all in whether a collector wants it or not and what perceived value they have. So I have no issue with NFTs, and I think they're going to develop into all sorts of ways that we don't yet understand. The other thing that's coming is community tokens. You and I, if we're having this chat in 5 years' time, we'll both have our own community tokens, whether it's a Real Vision token or your own token, and that will come with member benefits. We are going to disrupt. Content creators are going to disrupt Google and Facebook, where they accumulate a large part of the revenue streams that we can generate. That's going to go.
Can you walk me through how those community tokens
I thought
work?
You'd be interested in that. Basically, let's say you are a Cristiano Ronaldo. You have probably a community of 300 million people, something like that. So right now, to reach his community and to monetize from it, he uses Google and Facebook, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, etc., and maybe uses TikTok. And so the community runs via that. And usually it's advertising and brands. So he will be paid to advertise for Adidas or whoever he advertises for, and he will then get the images out, etc. And that's how he makes extra money on top of his salary. In the tokenized community world, he has a direct relationship with his community. So he can create Cristiano Ronaldo boots himself and sell them to his community directly, to an audience of 300 million people. He can also give community holders that token that allows them discounts into his games or membership to any club that he chooses to become a player in. They can also maybe have value in terms of the number of goals, because they're all programmable. You can have however many goals in the season, It reduces the supply of the tokens, let's say, so the value of the tokens go. Who knows? Anything can be done. It can be maybe that he wants to corral people into a charity project. So he puts that as part of the programmable coins because he believes in tiger conservation in India. You know, whatever it may be, we can do anything. And that is very disruptive because right now it's brand, platform, and they take a large part of the economics, and the person in the middle. It's most extreme in music, where 80% of the economics is taken out by middlemen.